In this episode, we will be discussing about one of the most intriguing questions faced by mankind from time immemorial. This question is regarding the origins of our world and how it all came about. Modern scientists have their own theory about how the world and the beings on it emerged. It is the so-called Big Bang theory. We will be discussing about that in brief. Most importantly, we will be focusing on the amazing possibility that even the ancient Indians had pondered about this idea and come up with their own theory, which seems to have a lot in common with our modern theory of Big Bang. Were ancient Indians aware of the Big Bang theory? Big Bang theory is the most widely accepted scientific theory about how our universe emerged 13.7 billion years ago. Though there is not much of empirical evidence about this theory yet, except for mathematical derivations, it is most likely to be true. This theory was propounded in the late 1940s and refined in the last few decades. But what is amazing is that there are seemingly similar descriptions of the origins of the universe in the more than 5,000-year-old Vedas, the most ancient scriptures of India. In this talk, I will briefly touch upon one such description. Before we get there, let me first give a brief overview of the Big Bang theory as proposed by our modern scientific community. Apparently, more than 13.7 billion years ago, the universe that we can see today did not exist. Scientists say that at that time neither space nor time existed. What existed at that time? According to the Big Bang theory, all that existed at that moment was just an infinitely dense, infinitely hot, dimensionless point. There was nothing else. But this point was not material in nature, since none of the things that we recognize as matter today existed at that time, nor the laws of gravitation, electromagnetism, etc. that govern the material world today. For some unknown reason, this singular point started expanding at an infinitely great speed. It did not explode the way the word Big Bang suggests, but merely expanded in all directions. As it expanded, it started cooling down, but it was still billions of degrees hot. As it cooled, charged particles like electron, proton, etc. got produced. Later, these charged particles combined together with electrically neutral neutrons to form the first ever atoms. Newer atoms were formed as time passed by, giving rise to simple elements. Gradually, these atoms further combined and produced complex compounds. One by one, laws of gravitation, electromagnetism, etc. started enforcing themselves. The process of expansion and cooling down went on. Over a period of billions of years, newly formed compounds clustered together as galaxies, stars, and planets, giving rise to the universe that we know of today. But the expansion was still going on at a rapid pace. So, this rapid expansion which went on and still going on at greater than speed of light made some parts of this universe unknowable, since no light could ever reach them. That part of the universe will ever remain unknown to us. Gradually, there was a period of further cooling down. There was emergence of life on some parts of this universe, like our own Earth. From microbial forms to vegetation to animals and to finally humans, life continued to evolve on some of these newly formed parts of the universe. As of now, we are aware of life only on our earth, but it is not unlikely that life may also exist in many other parts of this universe where conditions are favorable. It may be an altogether different form of life though. Some scientists opine that this Big Bang is not a one-time phenomenon. There could be cycles of expansion and contraction resulting in alternately spooling of universe and its subsequent reabsorption after an interval. This in nutshell is the Big Bang theory. Now let us look at the description in the over 5000-year-old Vedas that we talked about in the beginning. Do those descriptions match this? In this talk, I have taken up one of the descriptions given in the Rigveda, more specifically in Rigveda Samhita, Mandala 10, Sukta 129. Samhita is a collection of mantras. Mandala is a specific grouping of these mantras into chapters either based on the sage or his family who initially recorded these mantras, or the grouping could be based on the divine beings those sutras are addressed to. But they are not the indicators of chronology as often wrongly believed. A sukta is a group of related mantras within a mandala that correspond to some topic or usage. We are talking about 129th group that has 7 mantras. This group of mantras is called Nasadiya Sukta. This sukta hints at the way our universe originated and what existed before the universe came into existence. This sukta is further expanded in various Upanishads, elaborating the entire creation process. Ancient Indians always believed that creation, if at all it can be called so, is not a one-time affair, but it is a phase in a beginningless, endless cycle of successive creation reabsorption processes with in-between interludes. This sukta talks about one such creation phase, which followed a previous reabsorption phase or pralaya. The sukta starts off with description of what existed before the universe emerged. It says, "There was neither asat nor sat at that time. Na asat asit, na sat." What are these asat and sat? These words have different meanings in different contexts. But in this context, asat means something that cannot be known by our senses, and sat means that which is knowable through our senses. So existence has two components, some things that can never be known and some things that can be known. Did the worlds that we see today, like stars, planets, exist at that time? The sukta says, "Na raja asi, na vyoma, na paraha." That means there were neither the worlds that we see today, nor the outer space, not even the space beyond. At this point, it is interesting to note that the word space in common parlance is taken as something where nothing exists. We don't consider space as some object, but not so the Vedic Indians. They considered even the space as one of the 5 basic elements that formed our world. They called it Akasha. The word space does not represent emptiness, but some element called space. It sounds strange. But even the promoters of Big Bang theory say that the space did not exist before the Big Bang. It only got created as initial singularity expanded outwards. What is further interesting is that the Vedas say that before creation, neither space nor time existed. That is why they say that the Atma, that alone existed in the very beginning, is beyond space and time. We are used to the idea that everything has an inside and an outside, everything is covered by something, and so on. But what enveloped this universe which is in the process of creation? The Sukta says, Kim avarivaha, kim gahanam gabiram ambha asit? What could have enveloped this emerging universe? Could there be some unfathomable water? That is ruled out, since at that time water did not exist and was yet to be created. Definitely there were no life forms at that time. So, where is the question about their birth or death or even their being immortal? None of that existed. There was no day nor night, since the sun is yet to arrive on the scene. That is what the Sukta says. Na mrityu asit, na amritam, na ratriya, na anna asit. Does it mean that it was totally void? Did this universe emerge from nothing? No, that is not the case. The Sukta says that there was this one and only thing. That thing was capable of bringing life into lifeless. Tat ekam swadhaya avatam anit. There is absolutely nothing else other than that. Tasmat anyat na para kinchana asa. The Sukta goes on to describe the situation at that time. It says there was darkness all around, but it was not any ordinary darkness. Ordinary darkness can be dispelled by shedding light, but this darkness could not be shed even by light. It was such a darkness. The entire universe that we see now was in a completely fluid state. Agre tamasa gulam apraketam asit idam sarvam salilam aha. What happened then? As we saw earlier, there was this one and only thing at that time. Did it not do anything? It was quite capable. It did. That is how this universe came into existence. First, there was a desire in the mind of that one and only thing to expand as the world. That desire acted as a seed for the emergence of this universe. Agre kamaha samhadi avartataha manasa retaha yat asi tat. Once the one and only thing decided to emerge as the universe, it started to expand at great speeds in all directions, up, down, left, right, and forward, like rays of light. Esham rashmihi tiraschinaha adhasvit uparisvit vitataha asit. Gradually, the worlds as well as the life forms in those worlds also came into existence. Retodha asan, mahimanaha asan. But this creation was not instantaneous. It took time and happened in stages. One of the Upanishads explains this sequence as follows. From that one and only thing, which the Upanishads call as Atma, emerged space. From space emerged gases. From this gaseous stuff emerged fire. Fire gave rise to water. From water arose solid things like earth. On this earth grew vegetation. This vegetation was gradually followed by beings that fed on food produced by this vegetation. Atmana akasha sambhutaha, akashat vayuhu, vayur agnihi, agne apaha, adbhya prithvi, prithivya aushadaya, aushadibhyo annaha, annat purushaha. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.1. That was how the emergence of this universe, along with all living and non-living beings, took place. There is a fundamental question that begs for an answer. How is one sure that this is how it all took place? Who can explain it, since there was none at that time? Even the divine beings cannot tell us, since they came after the worlds came into existence. कः अद्धवेदा कः इव प्रोचत् देवाः asya visarjanena arvak. But there was definitely one who existed at that time. He was the one who started all this. Probably he knows everything. If he does not know, then yatha yam vishrushti ababhuva sa veda yadi vana veda. Probably the last words, namely, if he too does not know, then yadi vana veda was meant as a riddle like the Zen koans to make one ponder deeply. Or maybe it meant there is none who knows other than that one and only thing who did all this. That was the Big Bang theory of the ancient Indian Vedas, described as a set of 7 mantras in the 10th mandala of Rigveda. Now let us see the complete sukta as a whole along with traditional recitation.
Na sadasin no sada asit tadanin nasit rajono vyoma parojate kima baribah puhakasya sharmannam bhakkima asit gahanam gabhinam na mrityura asid amritanna tarhina ratriya anha asit praketaha आनीदवातं स्वधया तदेकन्तस्मात् धान्यन्न परः किञ्चनासा तम आसीत् तमसा गूढमग्रे प्रखेतं सलिलं सर्वमा इदं तुच्छ्येनाभ्वपि हितं यदासीत् तपसस्तन्महिना जायतैकम् कामस्तदग्रे समवर्तताधिमनसोरेतः प्रथमं यदासीत् सतो बन्धुमसति निरविन्दन् हृदि प्रतीष्या कवयो मनीषा तिरश्चीनो विततो रश्मिरेषा मधस्विदासीत् हेतोधा आसन्महिमान आसन् स्वधा अवस्थात् प्रयतिः परस्तात् को अध्यावेदक इह प्रवोचत्कुत आजाता कुत इयं विसृष्टिः अर्पाद्देवा अस्य विसर्जनेनाथा को वेदयत आबभूव इयं विसृष्टिर्यत आबभूव यदि वा दधे यदि वा न यो अस्याध्यक्षः परमेभ्यो मनसो अङ्गवेदयति वा